Now, it's time for the Tubby Smith Show, presented by the Mid-South Chevy Dealers, the official truck of the Memphis Tigers. The show is also supported by Regional One Health, Jack Pirtle's Chicken, AutoZone, Pizza Hut, and by MLGW.
Welcome to the Tubby Smith Show. I'm Brian Fenley, joined, of course, by Coach Smith. We go back to last week, Coach. The Tigers going 1-1 on the season. They now have 17 victories and are still third place in the AAC standings. The two games last week in Florida, Coach, you've had a chance to maybe look at some of the game film. Defensively, what kind of things do you want to improve on?
Well, defensively, we want to do a better job in transition. I thought we did a poor job finding people in transition and contesting shots. You know, you got to get out and challenge guys' shots and get a hand in the face. And limit them to one shot. I thought those are the areas we really need to improve on defensively.
Markel Crawford, Coach, you have been very instrumental in his growth this year. A guy now who is the team's second leading scorer, but over the last couple of games, not playing at the level that we've seen recently. From your time coaching, what methods have helped guys get out of slumps?
You bring up a good point. You know, the method is trying to make sure your life is organized, that you limit your distractions, that you're able to concentrate on just getting on the game and get up extra shots. You know, when you're struggling, there's no magic or formula. You just have to work harder. You know, get in the gym. If there is something technically, fundamentally wrong with your shot, we'll need to watch it and change it, and that's what we need to do. We haven't really had a lot of time to practice, and that's been a problem.
One thing that your team has done really well recently is valuing the basketball, not turning it over very much. What do you attribute that to?
Well, you know, I think you limit who handles the ball, and I think we have good ball handlers throughout our lineup. I really think, you know, Diedrich is a guard he plays the power forward in the center spot for us, but he can handle the ball as well as anybody on the team. You know, Markel's a good ball handler, even though the other day he was a little shaky with it. But then KJ. But when we're passing and not trying to do too much, so you want to make you pass it to the open man. Number one, that would limit you, and the defense will not stack. We start dribbling, the defense is more effective because they can guard that one guy dribbling the basketball.
Absolutely. We're going to look more at those games in Florida coming up. All right, we are going to take a break, and up next, Coach is going to break down the USF matchup. We're going to, again, talk about game highlights, and we will also have the Mid-South Chevy Dealers Inside Access. It's going to be a look at the Lawson brothers and their chemistry on and off the court. And also, we look ahead. The AutoZone road ahead, a busy week for you, Coach, coming up with Tulsa and Temple. That's all coming up after this.
You're watching the Tubby Smith Show, presented by the Mid-South Chevy Dealers. Watching the Tubby Smith Show, presented by the Mid-South Chevy Dealers.
Tigers opened last week with a victory at USF. Diedrich Lawson, 29 points, Coach, coming off a game prior against ECU when he only had 8 points. What gave you the confidence, Coach, to know Lawson in this game was going to bounce back in a big way?
Because he's done it pretty frequently.
Yes.
He's been pretty consistent all year long. He's been one of the most consistent players in the country, ranking in the top 10 in scoring, rebounding, assists. You know, whatever you think, block shots, steals in this conference. So he's a guy that we trust that when he gets the ball in his hands, good things are going to happen, and he does. He usually delivers with with so many double-doubles this year. He's been outstanding. Again, you see in this game we were doing some things well. If we can get off to a good start, we're much more effective. And in this game, we got off to a good start, 6-5 lead. But again, dribble penetration. I mentioned that earlier in the show where you asked me before, what are some of the things that we need to improve on? Our defensive, containing the dribble. There's an air ball there, but we got the rebound and stuck it back in. Again, good ball movement. And we're happy for Keon Clergeau. He's from Florida. He played a lot while he was in Florida, did a good job there. Another inside pass. Again, when you're sharing the basketball, because we had 20 assists in this game. We're really moving the ball, sharing the basketball, and that makes all the difference in the world. That's the only way we can win. We're passing the ball again. Good offensive rebound there. Markel with a little shovel pass there to Diedrich Lawson. And that's what you have to have. Screening is another big thing that we really have had trouble with on the offense, being another feed inside. Dedrick Lawson there. You have, I think that was Craig Randall passed the ball inside. Again, Craig with another assist there to KJ. And that's what it's about. You know, making the extra pass. You know, and that's the most unselfish act is an assist. You know, anytime someone scores, it's because someone gave them an assist. Again, we went under the screen there, and Bibby knocked down a three. You know, one of the things we said is a fight over the screen, and we didn't that time. Again, transition defense, we talked about that earlier. Again, they're getting out and getting in fast break, and teams are it's very hard to defend when you let people get layups. You have to get back, make them shoot over you. And they made a big run there before the half, and we took a bad shot. Again, we came out in the second half, and we're taking the ball to the basket. We get a goaltend, and all those things happen. Again, good penetration here by Markelle in transition.
And this is, of course, the Pizza Hut delivery of the game. Markelle Crawford forcing the steal. Coach, a season-high 14 steals. What defensively in that category was working so well?
Well, we were active hands, you know, quick feet. You defend with your feet. You want to be active hands, quick feet, positioning ourselves. And we teach our players, if you steal it, pass it right away. So Markelle was a recipient of a steal there by someone else, and he was able to run out. And one of the things Markelle can do, he's probably the fastest player we have on the team. He can really get out and run.
Yeah, you go into halftime up by 5 points. Then you start mustering up a run here. What do you attribute your ability and your team's ability in the second half to widen that margin?
You know, I think there was some breakdowns, you know, by South Florida. And again, we were getting out in transition. We were making shots, shooting over 50%. I think that helps. When you're making shots, we can get in our press, we can force, and that's where we're most effective. When we're out running the floor, pushing the ball up the court. You know, we're not as effective when we're in a set half court. We just don't have the size to really dominate inside. So we had the game pretty much under control in the last few minutes we kind of let things get out of control. Again, Mario has some foul trouble. He's dealing with some back issues, but he's one of the few guys that can go to the rim and get that offensive rebound and dunk it.
And Jeremiah Martin with 15 points in this game, 13 of them in the second half. How was he able to really make his mark offensively in that second half?
Well, again, I thought he was effective when we get the ball to him in transition. Again, when we're rebounding the ball and pushing the ball up the court, that's when Jeremiah is most effective. Again, they made a bunch of threes, but that's the type of team that they are.
Tigers winning that game by 10 points. Coach, you led by double digits the last 16 minutes of the game. How are you able to do that?
Again, those 16 points came on finding people open. Again, pushing the ball up in transition. And we got hot. We made our shots. We made our free throws, and that was the key to the win.
So that road swing continued on Saturday against UCF as the Tigers were battling in Orlando. We're going to take a look at that game from Saturday and get all the breakdown and analysis from Coach right after this.
You're watching The Tubby Smith Show, presented by the Mid-South Chevy Dealers. You're watching The Tubby Smith Show, presented by the Mid-South Chevy Dealers.
Back on Saturday, the Tigers losing to UCF, and they again have a 7'6" player in Taco Fall, a guy in the half-court set, Coach, a little bit hard to score against. You guys early on went to the full-court press, but how hard is it to end up translating that to buckets when the shots aren't falling?
It's just very difficult, and it doesn't help if you're taking bad shots. That just adds to it. And we took about 8 bad shots in the first 3 or 4 minutes of this game. And then when you have an effective shot blocker, rim protector like Taco Falls, who not only can change your shots from wherever you are on the court when you shoot it, and he can limit you to one shot because he's such a great rebounder as well. Again, the hands down, Matt Williams, outstanding shooter, came out, lighting it up, you know, and that you can't let happen, especially when you're on the road. You play, you know they start off on 13-0, and it was just disappointing in the way we came out to play. And our energy level, it just was very poor. So I was very disappointed in how we played. But we started to battle back. We cut it back, got it back to a workable number after being down 13, but we went down 16, and we cut it to 9, or we cut it to 8, but we never could get any flow. And thank goodness Dedrick Lawson showed up to this game and played well for us. Once again, he came away with a double-double, his 32nd career double-double. So he's very capable. Again, those are the type of things that happen. They were taking us off the dribble. The guard there, Taylor, was pretty effective. And again, I mentioned Matt Williams, who was very effective, and Taco Falls. Just you let him catch the ball that deep, bad things are going to happen, and certainly bad things happen to us.
Dedrick Lawson with 28 points in that game, 6 of 20 from the field, 14 of 14 from the free throw line. Coach, you forced 16 turnovers, but what made it hard to capitalize on the offensive end off those turnovers?
Again, I thought we took some bad shots. Tried to take the ball to the basket when we weren't going to be able to get an open play at the basket because they have such a good shot blocker. And so we talked about drive, draw the defense, and then dish the ball to the open man. And we were not. Again, we didn't do a good job of trapping Taco Fall when the ball went inside. All those things were just breakdowns defensively that you just can't have and expect to win.
This was a game where Markel Crawford, scoreless, 0 for 4 from the field, 4 personal fouls, 3 turnovers. What was your message to him after this game?
Well, we have a lot of games left to play. That was my message to him. And when you talk to Markel, we talked about earlier, I think there are things that happen, and these players are always under a lot of scrutiny. And so they have to learn to make sure they maintain the level of composure and not be distracted. Again, there was a foul right before the half by Markel, and they get 3 free throws. They made 2 out of 3. Those things, we ended up getting a technical in the first half, I think, with KJ got a technical foul. So we just were not ourselves, and that's not the type of people, not the players and not the team that I expected to show up. Again, this young man, Dedrick Lawson, showed up and came ready to play. He always does. And again, we were pretty effective in taking the ball to the basket. Again, we were fighting back. We battled back. Again, a good hook there to get around. But you got to take away the baseline. That's what I'm talking about, defensive breakdown. Our rule is to take away the baseline, force back inside where you have help, and we did a very poor job of that. Again, transition baskets. You can't give a bunch of layups. So we had some major breakdowns defensively, and we need to get them corrected for our next game.
Coach, you talked about Williams with 5 3-pointers in this game, and you mentioned post-game after that one that you guys were getting out defensively, even putting a hand in his face. He was still making those shots. How do you stop that?
Well, again, you have to, number one, ball pressure. And I thought we did a very poor job of pressuring the passer. No one person can defend Taco Fall in the paint. He's 300 pounds, 7'6". Dedrick Lawson is 6'8", 6'9", 225, 235, but it's giving away a lot of weight. So you got to have pressure on the passer, and you saw right again, nobody down to help the guy pump faking. You got to double team him. If he brings the ball down, you have to take it from him. So we did again, there's some breakdowns that we've been working on, trying to make just there. We had a chance, had a guy in a double team. We let him step through the double team. He finds the guy open and makes it. So it's it was just a tough loss, 72. It was just a real breakdown that we shouldn't have had. But there are a lot of things that contributed to it, and we'll get it right.
Dedrick went 14 of 14 from the free throw line, but there was only one other Tiger who got to the line in that game. Does that worry you, Coach? Maybe the need to get more guys offensively, pick up fouls, and get more of your guys at the line?
Well, again, when you're taking bad shots, shooting 20% from the field, or 30%, 29% in the first half, I think 15% from threes, you're always in a retreat mode because you're missing shots, you're back on your heels, and you can't get a rhythm. So that's something we need to address, and we've been addressing with our teams, is taking better shots.
You go back to that game also, Coach. Lawson with a big game, but USF shot 56% in the first half.
Yeah.
They've also found a way to get out to early leads in both of your matchups against them. Is it just how you match up with them, or what do you attribute to their ability to continue to get out to these hot starts in both of their games with you?
Well, again, I mentioned the bad shots. Anybody, I don't care who you're playing against, you take bad shots, it's going to lead to bad things. And then, this kid, Matt Williams, who's an outstanding three-point shooter, if you don't take him out of the game early and he gets hot, he made about 3 threes from deep. So we did a poor job of defending their threes, and that's how they shoot 50% from the floor. And it doesn't help when you combine that with 29% in the first half again, and them shooting over 50.
UCF losing, or rather UCF winning that game, 72-57. Tigers now 17-7 on the season. Coming up, the Mid-South Chevy Dealers Inside Access as we look at the Lawson brothers and their chemistry on and off the court.
You're watching The Tubby Smith Show, presented by the Mid-South Chevy Dealers. You're watching The Tubby Smith Show, presented by the Mid-South Chevy Dealers.
Time now for the Mid-South Chevy Dealers Inside Access, and we feature perhaps one of the most dynamic front court tandems in the country, Diedrich and KJ Lawson, and they've got that chemistry down.
KJ, love him to death. He's a very hard worker, and by the end of the season, the hard work should be paying off. He spends a lot of time in the gym, a lot of games. I mean, he just got to keep playing his basketball. Sometimes your shots won't fall. It's just about playing, doing other things on the basketball court. He's definitely hard on himself, and he's one of my biggest critic and biggest fan. It's from last year when he sat out and watched me play the rest of the season. He was on me the hardest about performing at a high level, and I just do the same to him this year. And he's been handling it very well. The bad, he don't get too high, he don't get too low after a bad or good game. So by him just staying well around it, he'll be okay. We talk basketball. Man, the majority of the time, we're not just relaxing or just playing video games. We talking sports on how to get better, on what we think the team needs to do. Like we lost the other day. We was on a plane on the way back. We were talking about things in the game that we should have did to capitalize, or which play that we should have did. Things like that. Just being basketball gurus and working on our IQ, I guess.
That's what you can appreciate about KJ and Diedrich. They both are students of the game. Their dad, their mom, both play basketball, and you can tell that they love, and I enjoy, and I love coaching them.
And they're so fortunate to have you as a coach. Coming up, the AutoZone road ahead. A busy week for the Tigers as they are home against Temple and USF, or rather Temple and Tulsa. Coach will break down those matchups next.
You're watching The Tubby Smith Show, presented by the Mid-South Chevy Dealers.
AutoZone road ahead, Coach. Tulsa Tuesday.
Well, they're a team that beat us in Tulsa. I coached there years ago, and there was a great turnout. But they're a team that E2, a kid that lit us up for 23 points, did a great job. And their point guard, Taplin, did a great. So you got to shut those two guys down.
And then you've got Temple over the weekend, and that's a big-time matchup for you guys.
They all are tough, and this time of year you got to be playing your best basketball. We took a step back, but we got to recover against these guys.
Coach, thank you so much. As always, thanks for watching. Go Tigers.
Thank you for watching The Tubby Smith Show, presented by the Mid-South Chevy Dealers, the official truck of the Memphis Tigers. The show is also supported by Regional One Health, Jack Pirtle's Chicken, AutoZone, Pizza Hut, and by MLGW.